All right. So. All right. All right. So at the end of this lesson, you're literally going to have 179 words in your vocabulary. Okay. On this side over here, these are all going to be your verbs. And you should know that they're verbs because it always says he did this, he did that, he. Okay. And, you know, the action, and it's all past tense. ED, 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 ED. Okay. Over here, of course, you're going to add more to your nouns, things you're just going to be putting into your vocabulary. It's interesting because every time I do a lesson, and then I come back, I don't do this on purpose. I see like words that I used in my lesson, like Malkuth. We talked about that. What's the Yatsara Isaka the Kalam? Yeah, like you might have a word like Malkuth, the kingdom. And then, you know, here down here, you're going to have your pronouns. Okay, your personal pronouns. Oh, I keep spelling wrong. Down here, you know, I, you, you know, ani or anoki, ata, and this one here, at. Make it bigger for you. Ata, at. That's all you say for her is at. Ata. That dot in there, it's letting you know there's two T's. There's two T's, and that's why they go A-T-T-A-H, ata. And then he is who. I use that today. Mehuze. That's what I was saying. Who is he? Right? This King of Glory, this Hakovod. And then, of course, she is he. So he is who, and she is he. And then we use this today, anaknu. And there's anu. You know, the new on the end lets us know that it's talking about us again, but overall, this is like a standalone pronoun, right? Anaknu. And then if you're talking to you as a group, plurality, atem, masculine right here. Aten, okay? Very similar. So once you get the pieces together, you'll know what it is, okay? One thing that I do want to point out to you, when you look at atem, it has the et right here, okay? And then the endings will let you know that that is the plurality, like the 3 MPL and the 3 female plural, okay? See, so the etim is literally like saying an et, and then, you know, the mem on the end, that represents a third person masculine plural, okay? The noon lets us know that it's a feminine. So when you know your pieces, you'll be like, okay, I know what the piece to that puzzle is. Just wanted to point that out to you. It's like sometimes we just say these words and we're like, okay, well, what does it mean? You know, why is it haim or hen? Okay. Same thing over here, haim and hain, you know, and then yesh and then ain. There is and there is not. So you're going to learn that and you're going to find out how that's put into those sentences. You're already up to rule number 22. And rule number 22 is just going to be dealing with a present tense. We talked about the past and we talked about the present, the past and the future. But now we're going to be dealing with the present tense. Okay. So in the present tense, it's very easy to learn. It's really easy because it only has 4 forms. I need to get another color. It has 4 forms, 4 of them. Okay. And the forms are not the personal pronouns in this in particular chart. The different forms that it's talking about are the ones all the way to your left-hand side, which are the one here, the shomer, shomodreth, shomodrim, and a shomodroth. Okay. It's not the word, the shin, the mem, and the resh that are the forms. The forms is letting us know, is it masculine or feminine, and is masculine plural, and then feminine plural. That's all it is. Those are the 4 forms. So this one right here, that's masculine. Okay. This is feminine. This is masculine plural. This is feminine plural. So when I look at these words, what I'm looking for is, well, how do I know that this is masculine here? How do I know that? You know? Well, I know that it doesn't have a ah on the end or a ta, so that automatically tells me. The next one, that tells me that that's feminine. Okay? Because I still got the shin, the mem, and the resh. And then here I got the shin, the mem, and the resh, and then I got the een. Okay? So that's another form, and that's what? Masculine plural. Then I got the oath right here. Okay, that's feminine plural. See? So those are the ones that you have to learn. That's it. Those 4 different types of forms. And that means endings. The actual verb, okay, can change. So it could go from shamor to shema. You see, it could go from that to devar. It could use any other verb you want to. What's interesting too that you'll notice in each one of these different forms is that you always have this wa right here after the second letter. Okay, that is representative of a present tense action. That's what's representing. Okay, also has another function to it as well, but let's just start here. So what you'll do is you'll take these pronouns for the masculine. And these pronouns here, they're masculine and they're singular. And this one, this is second person is third person. Again, if you see the way that they've been teaching us, it's always first person, second person, third person. First person, second person, third person. First person, second person, third person. And that's plurality, common. First person is always going to be common. Okay. First person, second person, third person. Easy. So when you look at that for a first person, when you're talking, that's when you say ani, 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 ani. Okay. If I say you, I say ata, ata. I'm talking to a masculine person. That's the second person I'm talking to. So if I'm talking to Yored, if I'm saying something, I say ani, how I feel, and then I'm talking to you, then I say, well, you need to do this. And I would say ata. Or how, where are you going? Ata. You would say, oh, I'm going, then you would say ani, you wouldn't say ata, you would say ani. Okay. So once you find out these pronouns, okay, these personal pronouns, and you memorize these things and make a song out of it. Ani, ata, hu. That's all masculine. You already know that. So when you get this form, I want you to, you can mark it down or whatever, but you just say, this is the feminine. This is the masculine singular. This is the feminine singular, what I'm talking to. Here's the masculine plural, and here's the feminine plural. Mark that down so you'll know what you're talking about, okay? If you notice, ani for the first person is the same as ani for the first person of the feminine. Same exact thing. I am, okay? You see a naknu, talking about a group of people, but you're talking about a common group of people, a group, one group. It's more than one, but it's a group, okay? That's the we, a naknu. The same word for masculine plural is the same one for feminine plural. So those are easy to remember. Ani, ani, a naknu, okay? Easy. The ones that and then the ones you have to worry about is, well, masculine is a ta, feminine is at, a 10, masculine, a 10, feminine. Easy, okay? So what are we going to say here today? We're going to say, I want you to say, this word here is show, S-H, which is the sh and the O. right here, and then M, and then A. Is it to A? Yeah, Shomer. Yeah, Shomer. This is a pronunciation. We would say Shamar, but it's really Shamer. I really should make that into an E. Shamer. Okay. Shomer. Okay. Shomer. So somebody tell me, how do I say, and I'm going to use some terms. I want you to say a second person that you're guarding, second person masculine singular.
Shomer.
Thank you. Atah Shomer. Yes. And if you notice, the Shomer, or the O in there, is this ing. Because if you take this out, all you would have is a shin, and you'd have a mem, and you'd have a resh, which means that's the root called shamar. But I ain't saying shamar because that means he guarded. I'm saying shomer. Okay. So shomer is different from shomar. Okay. So the ing is this little wa right here after the second consonant. So that lets you know that the action is presently going on. Okay. But also too, is going to let you know that if it's presently going on, then the person who's doing it is literally being a guard. And they'll explain that a little bit later. Okay. Somebody tell me if I said feminine plural. Okay. And I want the third person feminine plural. What would you say for guarding?
Shamu.
Hain, because I'm talking feminine. Hain, Hain, show ma roth. Show ma roth. Okay. Show ma roth. So show ma and then roth. Shomodroth. Hain Shomodroth. Now, this is going to take practice. It's going to take us always talking and always saying it. This is the only way you'll ever get it. You won't get it if you say it one time. You won't get it if you say it two times. You'll get it when you're in your privacy of your own home and you put some music to it and you make a song out of it. That's all you can do in order for you to keep it. You see, because what you have to do is you have to get your tongue used to saying these things. Okay. So show ma roth. There's 3 syllables there. Okay. Show madrim, 3 syllables. Show me dreth, 3 syllables. Show mer, 2. Okay. The explanation for the 3 versus the 2 would be that I know that this is feminine, right? So I had to add that extra tav right there to give it sound. I know this is masculine, so I had to add that ending. That gives me the extra syllable, syllabification. And then this last one, the oath, gives me the other syllabification. So it's 3 syllables: shomodreth, shomodrim, and a shomodreth, and shomer. Okay, and all of them are guarding. So a naknu, ani, ata, hu, the ani, the at, the he, the anaknu, the atem, hain, anaknu, aten, hain. Femininity, femininity, masculinity, masculinity. Okay, and then that's these little 2 dots right here tell you that it's feminine. It's right here. Okay, and this is different. This is he or he versus who. See, and that's all you got to remember. This is a memory game. It's just putting your pieces of the puzzle together. But what's lets you know that it is present tense is always going to be this wa with this dot over it after the second letter, a consonant, or it could be after the third letter, depending on context. It'll tell you something. Okay. So it says, please note that the 4 forms of the present tense all have the wa after the first letter, like we mentioned on page 35. So it gives you a little reference to go back and let you know, hey, we've already discussed it and we talked about that. You know, what else do we have? So that's it for that. That's pretty easy. Okay. The second part of this rule, it says the present tense is not only used to describe an action currently being done, okay, but it can also be used to describe the person doing the action. If you notice, that is in bold, because if they're saying that someone's guarding, they're letting you know that the person who's doing it is the one doing the action. So anytime you see this wa, or with this dot over it, it means ing. And it means that it's going on, but it's also describing the person who's doing it. So for example, look, they're going to show us some examples, some really easy ones. You said I am, which is ani, okay? The am is implied, okay? Ani shomer. Well, I know just off the last chart that we had that this right here, this is a first person, but I also know that that first person has to be a male, a masculine singular, because of the way that this is formatted. It doesn't have a tav on it, doesn't have a plurality ending, and it doesn't have an oath on the end of it, a female plurality. Okay, so it's shomer. So I need shomer. I am guarding currently. I'm describing the action. But here's the person doing the action. It can also mean I am a guard because I'm the one guarding. So it has two ways you can look at it, and context will define that. Because if someone is guarding currently, then what are they being? They're being a guard. Okay. Second one is who, rofe. Okay. Who. So who, we know that means he. And he is rofe, and rofe is guarding. I mean, yeah, guarding, healing, excuse me, healing, rofe, healing. So if he's healing, if he is healing, is implied, then he is a doctor. Okay, it's not a definite article. He's not the doctor. He is a doctor. Okay. She is he or he holeketh. Okay, holeketh. Well, you can see the tav on the end, so that tells us something. It tells us that it's feminine. You know, the personal pronoun for a third person would be he. That means she. Okay, that's third person. She's walking. So if she's walking, then she is a walker. They're just trying to get your mind to wrap around the idea of these two different ways that it can be interpreted. Okay. Also too, ani, and then here they go again. So now they've incorporated it on this next chart with the same still four forms. Okay. Which is just these right here. These are the four forms right here. That's what they are. These right here are the personal pronouns, okay, of each group. Singular, singular, plural, plural, and then of course, you know, this is masculine, this is feminine, this is masculine, and this is feminine. Easy pieces to a puzzle. And your endings tell you what that it is. Okay, so that's pretty simple. And they tell you right here what it is. You just pay attention, but once you see it a lot, you'll be like, okay, I know what it is. Number 3, it's clear from the present tense table that the word shomer by itself, let me get this right here, is really impossible to translate, because it could mean I am guarding, it could mean I am a guard, or you are guarding, or you are a guard. It can mean that, or he is guarding, or he is a guard, etc. And because of this fact, the present tense must be preceded by the person doing the act. So if it's a present tense, it must have one of these personal pronouns, ane, ata, or at, as listed in the vocabulary that you have learned in your lesson. Okay, because it would be impossible to say who's doing it. You want to know if he's doing it, if she's doing it. You want to know if a person's doing it. It could be by a name of a person. And so here again, here's an example. They got that name right there for one of the sons of Israel, the oldest son. His name is Reuven. Okay, so Reuven is shomer. Why is it shomer? And why is it not shomoreth?
Applied he.
Yeah, because Reuven is a masculine and it's a he. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, he's guarding. Okay, then we have the cow, she is walking. So the hapodra is the holeketh. So the cow is walking. What part of the cow is the part of, excuse me, what part of the word hapodra is the definite article?
The hay.
The hay, okay, which gives you the sound ha. So the hay is the definite article. The cow is the para. Okay, so ha para, holeketh. Okay, she is walking. How do we know that this is she's walking? How do we know it's present tense in this in particular word? How do we know it's present tense?
Is it the wall?
Yes, it is. It's the wa. It's the second letter after the first consonant. Okay. So that's indicating that it's an ing. So if you notice ing right here, and you notice an ing right here. Okay. So that's a quick, easy way for us to understand that. So it's not hard. It's easy. That's really easy. So again, I recommend you finding your favorite music and you sing this out. You sing this out. You don't just go and do the chart and go, okay, that's a ni, that's a ta, that's who, that's a ni, that's at, that's he. No, you got to make a song out of it. And you look at it when you're singing your song. If you're going to sing ani, you sing it in a song. And you keep looking at, when you sing ani and you accept it in your brain, I want you to always come and just look at this as you're saying it. So you're singing this, okay? You look at this first and sing it. And then after you sing it, you forget about looking at this, cover it up and just say this right here. And then when you're saying this, I am, you just say, ani, 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 ani. Okay. That's the trick. That's how you get it. If I want to say he versus who, you got to be able to remember it, say who, and then look at he. But it's just easy to remember that she's a he, because it'd be just the opposite, right? Because you would say, this would say, you think it's saying he, but it's not he, it's he. Okay, like as in hit, hit. Okay, right before you get to that, it's hit. Okay, or hip. That's the sound. So that's what that yod makes. That yod in the middle or the end, right here, makes that sound, 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 okay? That's what it makes. But you got to sing it. If you don't sing it, it's not going to stick. Because again, we're a people of song. That's the reason why Yah wanted us to memorize Deuteronomy Davarim 32. Teach it to the people and have them memorize it by heart. You're supposed to be singing it, okay? Moving forward, we see that there's an alternative to Shomodra or Shomodreth. Is it Shomodreth or Shomora? Yeah, Shomodreth. There's an alternative called Shomorah. Sometimes the Torah uses an alternative form of the feminine singular, okay? Meaning a different tense. So instead of Shomodreth, that is, it would be Shomodra. You will notice it still has a letter wa after the first root letter, right? Which we know is a sign of the present tense. So again, the wa is a sign of a present tense. That's all you got to remember. So anytime you see that after second letter, you got to remember, oh, that means that's a sign. That's telling me something. You know, like you have a stop sign. Well, this one tells you, oh, this is present tense. Oh, and that means it's an ing, because that's what a present tense is. It means it's going on. And if it's ing, whatever they're doing, then there's something. If they're speaking, then they're a speaker. If they're a guard, if they're guarding, they're a guard. If they're healing, they're a doctor. If they're walking, they're a walker. I mean, that's what it would be. It's that simple. So the Torah will have some different alternatives that you don't really have to really worry about too much. You'll see them a little bit. In our Torah portion, this week, it talked about how the Leviim, how they were in charge, because that's what this means. This means in charge of a service. which is the Shomodreth. There, the Levuim are in charge of the Shomodreth of the Mishkan. That's what they're in charge of. That's what the word that they used in our Torah portion, that because they're guarding and taking care of the charge of Yahweh, they're in the Shomodreth. Okay. Here's an example. It says she is going, or going is she. She is going on every high mountain. So let's look at that in particular sentence right there. Okay, here it is. All you do is just break it down. Oh, I see an I here. Oh, that's feminine. Okay, here's laka. Here's the lock. Okay, lock means to walk or go. Okay. All right. And then we got the hole. Okay, so the hole right here, the dot, they didn't tell us in the lesson, but this dot right here also represents the ing. They're just missing the wa with the dot on it. And it's what you would call a, I don't know if they're going to list it, but it's called a defective spelling. And a defective spelling means instead of them having the whole word out like, you know, H of the hey, and then the wa, and then the lamed, and then the kaf, and then the hey, what they're going to do is they're going to get rid of the wa, and they're just going to have the hey and put a dot in place of that to represent the present tense, and then the lamed, and the kaf, and then the hey. That's called a defective spelling. It's like a short way of doing it. Okay. So dots over letters, depending on what the letter is. If it's a shin, they got a dot over it. So is that an O sound? It depends on the grammar. It depends on the structure of it. You know, is the dot over on this side? Is it an O? Depends. You got to know your vocabulary. You got to know what that word is saying. You got to look at the context. All right. And then what else do we know? What is this? What personal pronoun is that? He is what? She.
She.
Uh-huh. And then all is on or upon, and then all is, you know, the all call, and here's the har. Har means mountain. If you know, this is part of your vocabulary, and then they tell you right here what this is. This is the gavoa. The gavoa means high, right? So if we look at the translation of this, according to what they've written, and you can know that whatever personal pronouns that they're using tells you, like, you know, whatever the verb is, if the verb is feminine, then you know, hey, the personal pronoun will be feminine. Okay. So she is going on every high mountain. That's what that is. So let's incorporate this new information to our present tense table. Same table, same four, but now they're just telling you, hey, instead of us using Shomodreth in box number 2, we're looking at Shomorah. Basically, that's all they're doing. Same thing. Ani, at, hi, anaknu, atem, hain, anaknu, aten. So you just got to memorize your personal pronouns, and all you have to remember, this is the only thing that you have to remember about the present tense, is that it either can be doing the action, an ing, it's going on as we speak, or it represents the person who's doing the action. So if they're guarding, it's a guard. If they're walking, it's a walker. If they're healing, it's a doctor. Okay. That's all. Those are the 4 different ways that you can look at it. Okay. And that's based on, you know, you memorizing this and singing it. Okay. Number 5, they have this hey right here. They're going to tell us a little bit about that. It means the one, or the one who, etc., who's doing the action. So for example, you often see a hey in front of the present tense. Okay. Sometimes you'll see this hey in front of a present tense. The hey doesn't mean just, you know, it can also mean causative. It can also mean a whole bunch of other things. Okay. But you got to know when it's in front of a present tense. What does it mean? Okay. So in some words, so hey can mean the, right? Like it does for a noun, you know, like the horse, you know, ha, sus. Okay. But also the hey can be on front of this in particular verb, because these are talking about a verb, present tense verbs, right? So now the hey's are in front of this verb. Well, when we get more into our grammar, you'll find out that the hey can mean the, but it can also mean to cause. That's a whole nother thing. It's a causative. Don't want to confuse you, but right now I'm just letting you know, just in case you've had your studies, you're like, well, I thought it was the. It is the. But how does the work on front of a verb? Well, they're going to tell us right here. It works on the present tense verb. You would often see this hey in front of the present tense. Here's the example, like hanothain or hashomer. Okay. Just for the sake of study, what is this dot inside of that shin? What does that represent?
To germinate.
Yes, it's called a geminate from your word Gemini. Okay. A geminate is a doubling up of a letter. So when I say this word, I got that hey, let's just translate it. H. Next one, ah. Next one, sh, hash. That's the first thing I'm going to say. That's my first syllable, hash. Okay. Then I got the show right here. I got another sh left over, and then I got the o, hash show, and then my last one, mer, hash show mer, hash show mer. Okay. I don't want you to say it like hash shomer. You don't say it like that. You have to say it faster. Hashomer. So you're just holding that sh a little bit longer. Hashomer. Hashomer. Okay. So excellent. That's a geminate. Okay. And the geminate means a doubling up. But if I got that dot on the front of a word, like a bet right here, is that a doubling of the bet? No. It just means that I'm going to make a hard sound. I'll make a hard B sound. And that's in our baguette kafet letters. Remember that? B-E-G-E-D and then ka, fate. All right. I underline the letters or telling you what I'm talking about. It's an acronym. And if you can remember, I told you we'll always go over this. They have these letters called the baguette kafat. That is the, you know, Eddie Eats Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie, the 6 strings on the instrument on a guitar. Okay. So in the language, there's what they will call a baguette kafat letters. And these baguette kafat letters tell you that these in particular letters have 2 different sounds. That's what it is. So just off the top, on the bet, I got it right here. But if I take that dot out of it and it's still a bet, what sound does it make? This is a hard B sound, but as in boy. I take the dot out of it. There's no dot. What's the sound? V sound. Okay. I got the G, right? I got the G. In Hebrew, the G would equal this letter right here called a gemil. I got a dot in it. What is going to be for go? A hard G sound. If I got another gemil right here and doesn't have a dot in it, what sound does that make? It's a softer G. So the softness would be ghost. It's not hard. You don't go ghost, you go ghost. Barely hear it. Okay. The next one, if I got a dalet, which is my next letter, it's a baguette kafet letter. Here's a dalet, and it has a dot on it right here. It's going to give me a hard D sound, as in day, d. Okay. If I have a dalet and it doesn't have that dot in, it's going to give me a very soft D sound. So it's more da. Okay. Sounds like a TH in a sense. Okay. The next letter, which is the cough. The cough can be like this, and here's the final cough. Okay. So this cough can have a dot in it. And if it's like that, it's going to be a hard K sound. Okay. Like to kill. Okay. But if I don't have a dot in it, which they would call, I'm calling the dot, it's really called a dagesh laney. Okay. If it doesn't have this dagesh laney, this little dot in it, then it's going to give me a soft sound like it's in cool. Versus versus b, 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 v, 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 d, 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 d. See? Now, the pay, when it has a dot in it, or Dagesh Laney, it would give it a hard P sound, which would be P for what? Paul or poor or whatever. Okay. If I got another pay, it doesn't have the dot in it, it gives it a PH sound. And we know that's like as in phone. Okay. Last one, we have a tav, has a dot in it, gives you the hard T sound, as in toy. As soon as I take that Dagesh Laney out of there, all it is a TH sound, as in like in thought. See? So the Beged Kafet letters represent those letters that can take the Dagesh Laney, this hard sound. As soon as you remove that out of it, it's a soft sound. That's basically all that means. So that's part of the grammar, you know, that you need to know. I think I'm mentioning that too, is because you're starting to see it a lot more in our lessons where you see this dot and you got to say, is this a Beged Kafet letter? It's not. Shin is not a Beged Kafet letter. So the geminate that was mentioned is that it goes in any other letter, which except for what they call gutturals, it's a whole nother study. But when you see this dot and it's not inside of a Beged Kafet letter, it means you need to make two of those sounds. Okay, so that's inside of a shin. We know the shin is a SH, so I need to make two of them. The first shin is going to go with the first letter. So it'd be the H, then the ah with the vowel, and the sh. Then the next sh that's in there will be here. Sh. And that has the O right there. Okay, that's the vowel, and then mer. Hashomer. Hashomer. You got to hold it longer. Hash. Hash. Ha. Shomer. It's like you're holding it longer. You're holding it sound longer. Because if it didn't have that in it, it would be ha shomer. It'd be ha shomer. But it's not ha shomer. It's ha shomer. Ha shomer. Hear that shh? That's what you're doing. You're making a longer sound. That's all. Okay, and that's what the geminate does. It means make a longer sound. All right. So Hashomer is the guard. Just letting you know you can translate it as the guard. How do I know it's the guard? Well, the hey represents the, but the dot right here lets me know, hey, I need to make a little bit longer sound. It's representing the guard, but it also means present tense. It's still present tense. Okay. And the context will tell you what's being guarded. Okay. Hanothane. This dot right here, is that a Beged Kafet letter? If you can remember. Is it a bet? Nope.
No.
Is it a G for get? Nope. Is it Dalit? Nope. Is it a cough? Nope. Which you have a K. Is it a PH sound? Nope. Is it the cough? Nope. No, it's a noon. So if it's not a Beged Kafet letter, then it's not a matter of making a hard sound. It's just a matter of doubling the letter. So let's double it up. The first letter is what? In that particular word right here, the giver. What's the first letter?
Ha.
Ha. Okay. So how do you translate that to English?
B.
H.
H.
Letter. How do you call transliteration? How you translate this Hebrew letter into the English letter? Okay. So that's the first thing you do. This is an ah sound, so we're just going to put a little ah there. Okay. What's the next letter?
N.
N. Okay. And it's a geminate, so we got to make a little bit longer, right? So we got Han, right? That's our first syllabification. And then next we got another N. And then what's the vowel?
O.
O, and then, okay, so that's done. Now we got the last part, which is translate this letter right here. What's this?
TH.
TH. Yeah, good job. It's not a T, it's a TH. And then we got the A sound, okay? And then we got the final noon. So how do you say it? Ha, no, thing. Ha, no, thing. So, but you got to hear it. So if I say ha, nothing is different than ha, no. Ha, no, you hear that O? Show, mare, show, not sha, show. So if you notice, everything's about sound. You know, if it's shamar, sha is this very simple way of doing it. And I know that it didn't have an ending on it. I knew it didn't have nothing on the beginning because I know my vocabulary word. I know that means that he guarded. It's done. I hear show mare. Ah, show. Okay, show mare. Okay, well, show tells me something else. And I hear the mare. I know it's close to shamar, but it's shomer. So this O sound, so forget about what it looks like. You got to hear it, shomer. That means that something is currently being guarded. One thing I'll say a word, Shema. Shama. Shama. What does Shema mean? Shema Yisrael.
Listen, yeah.
Hear and listen. Okay. Okay. Perfectly. He didn't say Shemoah, did he? He didn't say Shemoah. He says Shema. See, Shemoah means they're currently listening. Right? So it's just different how you say it. So the O lets you know, okay, something is still going on. Somebody's doing an action. So the O sound, which is represented by the wa or a dot, lets you know something's going on. So you're listening, you're doing more listening. That's why I want you to sing it. Because if you sing it, you'll be like, that sounds different than shamar. Okay, for example, here it is. Ho. Ho. Ho-wo, 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 she-a-nu. Okay, guess what that is? That is asking Yah presently to be moving on our behalf. That's what that is. Present tense. Why would he put Hoshienu in a present tense? Somebody tell me.
We're presently and need that to happen.
Because right now, in our very moment, we're asking him to do it right now. It's like listen, even though you and I can't see the salvation happening right now, like we think nothing's happening. And I should have said that today. And I'll say it now. Maybe it's just good for me to say it now. Okay. The environment that you and I are in right now, we only know what's going on around us, correct? Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
What's going on in Washington, D.C. in the halls of the White House right now? Do you know what's going on inside those rooms?
No.
No, you don't, do you? Do you know what's going on right now in a restaurant in Hawaii and Maui?
No.
Okay. So if we don't know that, then you and I, but there's something going on, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So in the Shamayim, where the creator is, and he does have a throne, and he is there, and he never sleeps. Do you really think that there's nothing going on? Do you think something's not happening as we speak?
Yes, something's happening.
There's something's going on. Our salvation is going, it comes. We're asking Yah to manifest it to us, right? But as we speak right now, Yah has things in place and different things are moving around the world right now in order for that to happen. So it's not like the deal is sitting on the table and it's not been signed. The decree has already been given. When Yah had wrote, remember what David said in Psalms 139, he said, all my days were written out before you, before any of them existed.
Yes.
Yah took the time to write out every single detail about our lives. Okay, he has the format and the plan for Yisrael. So everything that's supposed to happen to Yisrael is happening to Yisrael at the time it's supposed to happen. And he's waiting, okay, for certain things to take, certain things have to happen in order for this salvation to happen for us. Okay. But it doesn't mean that nothing's moving. It doesn't mean that nothing's going through the pipeline. It doesn't mean that there's nothing going on. You understand? Would it surprise you or shock you to think that as we speak right now, y'all may be loading up?
No, wouldn't surprise me.
When you talk about war, I didn't get a chance to talk about it today because I was so pumped up. When we talk about war, and you know this, Yared, you talked about it, and the general and the officers, it's a matter of planning. Okay. So our creator is of Elohim of war, by the way. We've read that in our Torah portion before. He says that he's like a man of war. He's like a man. He's not a man, but he's like a man of war. He does preparation. He has strategy in place and he knows how he's going to do it. Okay. So even though he's our creator, he still takes the time to write out and say what the plans are. Everything that he does is written according to what he said. Everything is written. Okay. It's not just that it's spoken. Everything that he has said has been written. Every enemy that he has been written. Everything that you and I do will be written. Those who love him and have respect unto his name. He said, write their name down in a Sefer, the Zikaron Sefer. Write down the people that I'm going to destroy from generation to destroy. Write their names down. Write down who I need to make sure that they never stand before me. Write that down. Raise my hand then. I'm going to do this to Israel. Okay. So this present tense that we're in right now means that it doesn't have to be being fulfilled like it's not going to happen. It's happening, and it can happen at any given time. You understand? It's in a process. So that's what I want you to understand too about when we look at these words. So here again, this word right here is the one who's doing the action, the one who is, the one who is guarding, the one who is who gives. Hanothane is to give. Nothan means to give, but Nothane is the one giving, right? So just kind of putting you up on how do they deal with present tense verbs. Okay, so you're going to see that as well. And then of course they got another one here for the Shomoath and the Shomodreth. Here's another form. So they're going to tell us about that form. Okay. So you can read this when you get this. I'm going to send this to you as well. And then they give you some sentences about telling you what the present tense Torah narratives. So they're pretty good at this. They give you some sentences talking about Reuven is guarding the house. Raquel, they got Ro, but it's really Ra. Rokel is the Holeketh, the El, the Akotha, going to her sisters. Okay, going to her sister. And then they tell you about that. And here's another example where they tell you why he, the Makates, the Shanathim, the Yamim, the Ufaro, the Kolem, talking about his dream that he had, okay, that he was dreaming. So they give you those other examples as you have there as well. So when you read that, you'll be like, okay, I understand. All right, I understand. Here, let me see. All right, so I want to stop the lesson with this. Let me see how much do I have left over that. Yeah, that's a little bit deeper. So we need a little bit more time for that. We're going to just call this part number 1. And where's it at? When we come back to our lesson next week, we're going to begin to talk about, where's this at? Okay, lesson 12. All right, 12. When we come back, we're going to talk about this one. Because this is a little bit more, not intense, but it's more information, and you can't speed through this. You can't speed through this part, okay? Because this deals with yesh and it deals with ayin, okay? And ayin and ayin, you got to know the difference between those two things, which there is and there are, okay? It can mean any one of those things. So we don't want to run through this one, okay? This one here is very important. And the reason why it's important is because Yahweh uses it a lot to discuss this, page 105. Yeah. Yah uses this in particular word when he talks about himself. And so it's important for us to understand how that works, because he always says that there is no other. And I want you to fully grasp that the next time we have a study. Okay. Any questions? Any contributions? If not, I enjoyed the lesson with you. Don't get discouraged. Again, I'm telling you, if you guys trust me, you got to sing this stuff. That's the only way it's going to stick. Okay. Anything else? Nope, that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys on Yom Shilishi. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Toda Rabban.
I'll send this over to you guys. I'll send it to you guys.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.